On February the 5th, here at the Stoop, the biggest rivalry in women's rugby is renewed. It is champions Harlequins against league leaders Saracens. In the Premier 15s era, they've met 9 times. 4 wins for Harlequins, 4 wins for Saracens and a draw. And in that time, Saracens have got 213 points, Harlequins have got 214. Harlequins versus Saracens is the game changer, and this is the front row. Coming up on today's show, Davinia Catlin talks to us about balancing professional rugby and parenthood. Gerard Mullen gives us an update on the season so far. I attempt to learn to place kick with Ellie Green, but first we talk the Saracens rivalry with Shaunagh Brown. Shaunagh, it is Harlequins versus Saracens. It is the game changer, and I want to talk to you about rivalry, because it's easy for people like me to say, oh yeah, Harlequins, Saracens, massive rivals, but it must be, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's the London derby. It's like the top 2, as we have been for the last few years. It's been the final of the Premier 15s for the last few years. Like these games, every time we play them, it does feel like a final in itself. And whether it's a win, lose or draw, it's very much like it's the game. And even this year in a more competitive league, which is fantastic to see. And like it's everything we wanted to see in a Premier 15s league. But it's still like Sarries Harlequins is the game to watch.
We're here at the Stoop at the moment. It's resplendent in the sunshine.
Yeah.
It's empty, it's quiet. You can even hear the planes flying overhead. But it's going to be full of supporters. We've had some great games here. I think back to the knockout game against Wasps, and of course over the road where we had the 9,000, the record crowd for the Premier 15s. What's it feel like to play in front of an incredible crowd in a London derby here at the Stoop?
It's like Joe Marler said last season, like playing in front of nobody, like rugby's soulless without it. And yes, we were privileged enough to play, but it's kind of like, what are we playing for? And you sort of maybe see the table once a week, but as players, we don't particularly look at a table like that. But it's the reason why we play, having people in, like seeing smiles on faces, seeing families, hearing the stories of this is their first rugby game, whether it's little boys, little girls, adults, like dads in dad-only groups. It is my favourite to see like a pack of grown men just being here because they just love rugby, and it's why we play.
9 times you've met in the Premier 15s era, and there'll be lots made of this. Just 1 point separates both teams over those 9 games. But the last couple have gone Harlequins' way. Of course, the final, the first time you've got your hands on that Premier 15s trophy, then go into the Stonex Stadium, record margin of victory for Harlequins in the Premier 15s era. How does that make it different this time round?
It almost doesn't. Like, it doesn't matter what's gone before, and it doesn't matter that we had the biggest winning margin against them, because they're still Saracens. They still play an 80-plus minute game, and again, we've had big margins in the first half against them before, and they'll come back. It just adds to the excitement and adds to the fact that like we have to be on point, and it's the same with us. Like they have to be on point as well, because if they drop off for a few seconds at a time, and what's gone before, nothing changes, because we're 2 teams that are always wanting to win, wanting to go against each other, like wanting to get the physical battles against each other, wanting to get the mental battles against each other. Like you should hear some of the chat on the pitch. It's disgusting. It's disgraceful, really, embarrassing, in fact. But it's the constant one-upwomanship that we have against each other, even the individual battles.
I can't wait to talk to you after the game and hear some of that disgusting chat and some more stories. But wishing you and the team all the best. You're looking for 3 victories in a row against Saracens. Let's take a look at some of the highlights now from that record-winning margin at the Stonex Stadium.
Rolling to the right-hand side, good momentum behind this one. Saracens sensing the first try of the game. They've broken Harlequins for the first time, and Campbell is over. Through come the powerful white shirts, and this is an excellent drive from Harlequins. Looking to use the driving maul again. Fletcher is there, round the back of the driving maul. And Harlequins are level at the Stonex Stadium. Game on. Harlequins into the 22. Brown. Scott with the dummy. Emily Scott with the break. What a dummy from Scott, racing under the stick. And Quins have a 3rd try on the stroke of half-time. One of these subplots to the so many going on this afternoon. Robertson takes it, they're trying to use a bit of space. Beckett with the hard carry. Beckett up to the line. Beckett with the try! Poppy Cleal sniffing and sensing her team could go for the try. Here is Bottoman from close range. Just brutal power from Hannah Bottoman. Is that the score that gets Saracens back in the game? Carry now from Conkle. All this made by Emily Scott, brilliant, and there is the fifth. And surely now the match-winning try for Harlequins. Impressive work this from the Saracens forwards in what will be a losing cause. Saracens pushed out into touch. The final play of the game means the final whistle. Harlequins, the champions, winners here in North London.
As part of the Allianz Premier 15's magazine show All In, England Rugby's cameras spent the day with our hooker Davinia Catlin to see how she juggles parenting and playing.
My name is Davinia Catlin and I play hooker for Harlequins in the Allianz Premier 15s. I'm also a sports shop owner alongside my husband James.
And in January 2021 I had my first child, Caden.
7 months later I was back playing in the famous quarters. I've always wanted a family. Your playing career is only so short, but so's your life. You know, you can't put things on hold constantly. And I thought to myself, I don't want to retire. I don't want to do that. I want to have kids and carry on playing at the top level I can physically do. I'd spoken to some of the girls about having a family and they were like, oh yeah, you should. It'll be great. And I actually got Shaunagh Brown. We had this Zoom during COVID. We had this Zoom meeting. I said to Shaunagh, ask them what support they're going to give you if you fall pregnant. Test the waters. And they were like, we will support you like we'd support an injury. And I was like, brilliant. So I literally knew nothing. And when I say I know nothing, not many of my friends have had kids. And I think you only get told things if you're in the mum group. So, you know, I just didn't have anyone to talk to about, like, what can I do? How can I train? I didn't want to do anything that would affect the unborn baby in my belly. But I was very clear that I will still be training and I will still be on pitch. I initially had to keep my heart rate at like 140, but turns out that was pretty much a fast walk for me. So we moved up to 170, so I could actually do a little bit more. It was don't bump the bump, so obviously no contact, no hitting the ground, none of that. But other than that, that's pretty much it on pitch. And then through the gym, it was breathing differently when I lifted. So essentially the opposite of what you would normally do. And that was a challenge because I've gone 10 plus years doing it one way and then you have to change to do it another way. He arrived on the 28th of January. Terrible, absolutely terrible, terrible birth. So we induced, and that took 4 days. I was pretty much in a hospital for 4 days. It was terrible. It was like the worst. But he came out through emergency C-section in the end. I went back about week 12. We did a whole load of tests with the doctor. We did loads of tests on strength, balance, mobility, and everything came out fine. And so then I started training. Your body will never be the same. So the size of your hips, your pelvic's changed, the ligaments, everything has changed. So it's not, I've got a new knee, so I just carry on the way I did before. It's, I've got a whole different movement pattern to work into. With all of this, I'm still breastfeeding, so it was learning how to be away from Caden for 3-4 hours at a time and not feel like I was going to explode, which anyone that's tried to breastfeed knows the struggles of knowing when to express and when not to express, and it is just another thing you have to learn. It's hard because you just sort of expect that your sleep gets back to normal, like you read, oh yeah, 6 months, you'll get 12 hours sleep. It doesn't happen. And it's taken me a while to realise that it actually doesn't happen. And it's all right. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's hard because I want to be switched on at work. This is what pays our bills. So I have to be like on the ball, trying to think for 8 hours before I go to training. And then sometimes I'm not all there. Like I have to ask for things to be repeated because I've heard it, but I've not heard it. So things like that, I have to get things repeated to me. It's not easy because, you know, these girls are working off like a solid 8 hours at the minimum, and I'm working on like maybe 5 hours broken, and that is not a lot of sleep. I don't think there's a better feeling when I came off the pitch on Saturday to see my little boy. I honestly don't. When I saw him, my heart just was so big. And I just had a great time playing with the girls. And then I have my little boy to be with. It's something I'm glad I didn't put off. I'm glad I didn't put off any longer. Hopefully more and more women in the league will have kids if they want to, because there are support structures and the clubs are being more forthcoming with the help that they would provide, because that's what it is. It's the not knowing what's going to happen. And if you know, you're in a bit of a better place. Whoa. Whoa.
And you can watch the full episode of All In on the Allianz Premier 15's YouTube channel. Gerard, it is your first season as a champion, defending the title. You're in and around the playoff mix, which I'd imagine is the minimum requirement. How happy are you with how the season's gone to this point?
Yeah, look, it's been challenging. I think the league is so much more competitive, which is fantastic. And I think whenever we're playing as the champions, teams kind of up their performances. So look, it's been very difficult. I'd say we've been slightly inconsistent. Some really great performances, like Saracens away or big game, but then some we've probably been a bit disappointed with. So over the next period, we want to be a bit more consistent with the levels of energy and physicality that we bring. Across the league, it has always been Harlequins and Saracens. Since you've been here, though, it's gone all right, hasn't it? Yeah, no, it's been okay. I think that was probably the one thing that was said to me when I started at Quins, was that basically you got to beat Saracens and win the league. Look, I think they're always big games. We prepare well for them. We've got across the line in recent occasions. However, they are going to be so up for this game, especially what happened in the final last year and beating them for the first time in 3.5 years at their home stadium. So it'll be a ferocious encounter, and one will have to lift it again to get a result. But the girls will look forward to it, and hopefully they'll bring a performance. Gerard, thank you so much for having a chat. Good luck for the game changer. It's going to be an amazing occasion. And now I'm going to try and slot some 3-pointers. Right, Ellie, I've come to learn a new skill today, and I've watched them hitting bags over there. I don't fancy that at all. And I watch you slot kicks every week, and it looks pretty easy. So can you teach me?
So I'd pop the tee down. I would line my valve up. So on the match balls we have a valve, and I would point that at the post, straight through the middle.
Okay.
So I put it at an angle, just so I can get a nice sweet strike on the ball, rather than a lot of people like to place it upright. I prefer to kick through it this way. So
hang on, sorry to interrupt you. Are they gold studs?
I didn't plan them. They came like this, but yes, they are. I keep them hidden very well. But so I'll go up to the ball. I'll line it up, so make sure everything's right through the post. I'll take 4 normal steps backwards. Make sure everything's in line again. Then take a crossover step to the side. So technically 3 steps. So my routine is I'll do a little crossover kick just to get my core activated. I'll do a few pitter-patter steps as well, just to get the feeling nice in my boots. Then I'll have a look up at the post. Imagine the exact flight I want for the ball going through it. So I'll look just above the Harlequin sign up there and make sure the ball's going through nice under-over flight. Then I'll draw a line back from that point straight to the middle of the ball. Then I'll take a step back, 3 steps in, and then hopefully it goes over. Yeah. And it was 4 steps back, wasn't it? Visualising it just above. Yeah. Oh, there's lots to think about here. There's a lot of pressure. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then across here. And all the while,
I'm thinking about how I want it to look.
Yeah, so the perfect kick you want to picture, because your brain doesn't know the difference between real and fake, so especially in kicking, you want to picture everything going well, so you're standing tall, you're kicking the ball straight with your right foot, and it's all going very well. So.
And where am I striking the ball?
So just on the point, so as you come in, your foot will strike, so as you're coming through, the knuckle of your foot, basically underneath your big toe, will strike square on the point, and then you'll come through and then follow through.
And away we go.
Oh! It was a perfect kick, so it went through straight through the post.
Right then, I want a slightly more difficult one. So shall we go left or right, or shall we go further back?
We'll go to the left first.
All right, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Wish me luck, everyone.
I did think it was going to be a bit better than that, I'm not going to lie. Sorry.
We've just seen the kicking. However, Harlequins have been famous for scoring some of the best tries in the league this season. So let's take a look at them right now.
Looking to try and spin it wide again, and here she is again, right to the heart of it. Emily Scott bursting through the line. Can she finish this off? Steps wonderfully, and again looking to try and find a teammate. Oh, it's another debut try.
Ellie Kildon! Where was that gap? And here comes Ellie Kildon. She stays on her feet. It's a sublime balancing act from the fullback, and she dots down right beneath the post.
Cow now. Oh, Cow is away. And she's a real speedster. Bowman is trying to come across and cut her off. She won't. Heather Cow.
But Quins do go open. Here's Chuima. Oh, lovely ball from Langi Chuima. Opportunity for Harlequins. Great cover tackle. Stops Beth Blacklock, who gets the offload away. It is Robinson.
Roller to chest. Nice pick up from Ellie Kildon. Dry stay here, and then the flick from Ellie Kildon. Breach. The fans from Jess Breach. One chance, one opportunity, and it's a try. Fill in the holes, Burford, lovely pass as you'd expect. Kildon needs to look inside. Well, perhaps he doesn't. Ellie Kildon, she's going to go all the way. Steps, Ellie Kildon. What a score!
No real change at the top of the table at the end of round 12. Exeter Chiefs, the only team in the top four not to pick up a bonus point win. Wasps battling back for a 15-all draw at Twyford Avenue. Harlequins 26th, lost to Hartpury 12, perhaps the most significant result of the weekend. Quins draw level on points with Chiefs, have that game in hand and give themselves some breathing space over the chasing pack. Well, that's it. The show's over, and now we look forward to the match here at the Stoop. It's the game changer, Harlequins versus Saracens. Saturday, the 5th of February, 2 o'clock kickoff, and tickets from just £5. The way things are going here, it is a rare opportunity to see the champions play at home. Desperate to defend that trophy against the league leaders who want to take it back to North London. Harlequins, Saracens, the game changer. We'll see you then.